So you are wondering what is the difference between your email options for automation. So I'm in my funnel step. Here, this is my funnel. Here, I'm going over to the automation tab, which is where you would compose an email. So you're wondering what's the difference between this set of email composing and composing an email in Actionetics. So this set of email composing for automation is mostly used for one-time events, such as you're hosting a webinar and you want to send out a reminder that the webinar will be starting in 1 hour. That's not going to go out all the time. It will go out to everyone on the list, but it will only go out one time. There also will not be an option to add an unsubscribe button to this email here because it is a one-time email. That's something I ran into. I want to make sure I'm compliant, so I'm trying to put unsubscribe and address and such on every single email I create, and I could not add an unsubscribe button to this email. It's because there's not anything to unsubscribe from, because it is not an ongoing email, because it is only done once. That's what this automation tab is for. So now let's talk about Actionetics. So in Actionetics, you have 4 things. You have broadcasts, follow-up funnels, email campaigns, and action funnels. An email campaign and a broadcast are the same thing. Broadcasts are the new version, and email campaigns is the old version. Same for these. Follow-up funnels is the new version. Action funnels is the old version. Let's go into broadcast and talk about the email composing in broadcasting. Okay, so this is where I was extremely confused, and I finally have it sorted out now, so I want to share this with you as well. This symbol here looks a lot like this symbol here. This is the indicator that this is an action broadcast. Okay? So there's 2 kinds of broadcast. You will only see them when you go here. So broadcasting has 2 options. An action broadcast, such as do this to these groups of people when this happens. And there's also an email broadcast, such as send an email to this group of people when this happens. Let me show you where I got confused. When I hover over Actionetics, to the right, you will see a list of what Actionetics does. The wording email notification led me to believe that it would notify my opt-ins via email of whatever I wanted them to be notified, which would have been the emails I was creating. Thanks for opting in, here's step 1, follow up step 2, etc. That is not what that means. That email notification here, let's see if it lets me click it. No, it does not. This email notification is the email notification when someone signs into, let me go here. Hold on, I'll show you. That email notification is this. It notifies me when people subscribe to the list. That is what I created inside that step. Let me see something. It's actually the same thing, because you can also do that here. This would have been notify me of subscribers. Everyone who subscribes, I want to get an email notification. I want to be notified when they do an email and send it to my email here. So again, ClickFunnels is kind of double dipping on what takes place. I would break it down even further and say that this section here with these things, this action broadcast and this email broadcast in this step of your funnel is for people who maybe aren't using Actionetics. Maybe you're using another compilation form or whatever for your emails. So let's go back into Actionetics again, and let's go into our broadcast. And remember, there's two kinds of broadcast. I wasn't aware of that, so I'm trying to set up an email here because I was using Actionetics to set up the email, but because I thought it was going to email my opt-ins, it's not what this is. This is just the action. This is your actual email broadcast here. Fill this out, and then that will start your emails. I hope that helped clear up some of the confusion on the difference between Actionetics versus the automation on the funnel level versus going into Actionetics tab. They're basically the same thing. The Actionetics allows more options. It allows you to track the data on who is opening and what's going on, versus the funnel, I don't think I can go back, versus the automation portion on the funnel step does not allow any tracking at all. It's simply actions and emails. It's pretty basic, versus the Actionetics option allows you more options. But if you're using Actionetics, just focus on these two things right here. Forget that the ones below it exist, because that's just going to confuse you. So I hope that helped.